right, hey New Jersey. Good. Long bus ride, you get some food in you ready to go? All right. Well, welcome to DC. My name is Mike Koprowski. I'm the National Director of Opportunity Starts at Home. I spoke to you all last year, and I see a few familiar faces. I've been waiting a whole year to get to do this again. This is just such a great event. There's so much energy. You guys really bring the passion to DC. You know, it's so refreshing to see advocates like you, folks that really get it, showing up to Capitol Hill and making sure that your voices are heard. And you're a key part of the Opportunity Starts at Home movement because you understand that opportunity in this country depends on having a safe, decent, affordable home. And we're really proud to partner with you on this effort, with the network, with Monarch. We're just really proud of all the work that you do. So the last time you all were here, we had an affordable housing crisis in this country, and it hasn't really changed. We're still in the thick of it, in case you haven't noticed. So let me throw out a few statistics for you. In 99% of counties in this country, 99% of counties in this country, a full-time worker earning minimum wage cannot afford a decent one-bedroom rental home. This is hit everywhere, right? It's not just the big cities. It's cities, it's suburbia, it's rural towns. 3/4 of the lowest income renters are paying more than half of their income on housing alone. Half of the paycheck is going just toward the rent. So this is happening, you know, it's in Newark, it's in Trenton, it's in Freehold, it's in Edison. You all know this. And there's some folks out there that say they're uninformed, but they say, well, you know, if you can't afford the rent, you just got to work harder, right? Just take on a few more hours, just work a little bit harder. Well, we all know that it's not that simple. The wages are far too low, the rents are far too high. Having a job is not enough anymore to cover the rent. So I want to play a guessing game with you. We'll see who gets it right. So in New Jersey, if you're earning minimum wage, how many hours per week do you have to work in order to afford a 2-bedroom rental home at fair market rent? So how many hours a week would you have to earn on minimum wage? I don't think I heard anybody that said the number that was high enough. 130. You said 120. That was the closest I heard. You'd have to work 130 hours per week if you're earning minimum wage to get a 2-bedroom rental. That is, I think that's 3.3 full-time jobs. It's not physically possible, right? It's just not physically possible. So it's for those folks that say, well, you just got to work harder. That's not a realistic possibility. And here's a real tragedy, is that this housing crisis spills over into all of these other areas of life, right? We know that when people can't afford the rent, they're more likely to experience homelessness. We know that, you know, without safe, decent, affordable housing, that children are more likely to be hospitalized, to have asthma, to experience low birth weights. Kids are more likely to struggle in school, to act out, to struggle to, you know, pass their tests. If you lack affordable housing, it's tough to climb out of poverty. You can't climb the income ladder, pass wealth on to your kids. When rent eats up your paycheck, you don't have enough money for nutritious food, which we all need. A lack of affordable housing is a drag on our economy. Without stable housing, people that were formerly incarcerated really struggle to rebuild their lives without that stable home. So we need to tell our elected officials all of this, that, you know, if they want better health, invest in affordable housing. If you want better education, invest in affordable housing. If you want to grow the economy, invest in affordable housing. We're the richest country in the world. We have the resources to do this, but what's been missing is the political will. And that's why you all are here, is to help us build that political will. And there's so many partners in this campaign that are helping us send this message to Congress. The National Education Association, which you'll hear from later, the largest teachers union in the U.S., is coming in saying, we need better housing policies. Congress, you need to act. We have Children's Health Watch, Just Leadership USA, Catholic Charities. I saw some Catholic Charities out there. Where you at? Catholic Charities? All right. Food Research and Action Center, we have Children's Defense Fund, many more. But all of these different sectors are coming together to tell Congress they need to act on housing. So with all that though, I want to point out there's been some progress over the past year, and that's due to all of your efforts and all of our efforts. If you haven't noticed, presidential candidates, you've been watching some of the campaign trail stuff, presidential candidates are talking about affordable housing now more than they have in decades upon decades. There are presidential candidates, from Cory Booker to Kamala Harris to Julian Castro to Elizabeth Warren. They have articulated actual plans to deal with the housing crisis. Some of them have articulated renters tax credits. Others want to put more money in the housing trust fund. This is unheard of, folks. This is not normal. You typically don't hear housing plans as part of a presidential campaign. So they're talking about housing, they have actual plans for housing. It's a prominent part of their campaign, and that's worth celebrating. The other thing that's going on is not only is the political will increasing, but the public will is increasing too. So we know this because we just did a poll. We did a national public opinion poll a few months ago to figure out what are the American people actually feeling about this issue. And what we found is that of all the people in the country that we surveyed, 8 out of 10 people said that the President and Congress need to take major action to promote affordable housing for the lowest income people. 8 in 10 people said that the President and Congress should take major action. We asked people, is housing affordability a serious problem in your neighborhood? And 60% of all Americans, right? This is everybody across the country, 60% of people said that it's a serious problem in their neighborhood. And that is up 21 points from 3 years ago. So 3 years ago they asked the question and 39% of people said, yeah, it's a serious problem in my neighborhood. 3 years later, today, 60% of people say it's a serious problem. That's a 21-point jump. People are really concerned about this issue. 60% of Americans said they've had to make a sacrifice in another area of their life because they couldn't afford their housing. They've had to cut back on health care, they've had to cut back on learning activities for their kid, they've had to skip electricity and water bills, they've had to cut back on food. 83% of people say that elected officials are not paying enough attention to the problem. And 76% of people say that they are more likely to vote for a candidate that has a plan to deal with the problem. And that is a majority of Democrats and Republicans, okay? So people want our elected officials to take action. So we have a moment of opportunity right now. The public will is growing, the political will is growing. We're seeing bold housing legislation in Congress for the first time. You're seeing Democrats get involved, you're seeing Republicans get involved. So let's capitalize on that moment. We have a long way to go, but we need to be optimistic about this. So I hope you all have a great day in DC. I want to thank you all for your hard work and your advocacy and for your passion. And when you talk to your elected officials today, remind them that opportunity starts at home. And really, let's bring the heat today, okay? All right, thank you all.